Welcome to the first episode of the Kind of Adulting podcast. My name is Simone, and I'm joined by my two friends, Jordan and Elise. We've known each other since middle school, high schoolish, and we're taking on our early 20s together. In this podcast, we hope to share our challenges, funny stories, and overall experiences living in the big city and taking on post-grad life. Again, guys, welcome to the first episode of Kind of Adulting. This is Simone,
Elise, and this is Jordan.
And we are just so excited to start this journey with you all. How is everyone doing? It's been a minute since we last spoke.
I just got back from getting a COVID test.
Interesting. And how was that?
It's not bad. I think everyone should go get a COVID test. It doesn't hurt. It's just uncomfortable. And I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah,
that's facts.
I guess. I don't know about the not hurting part. But, was there something that you were doing recently that made you want to get a COVID test? Or
No.
Yeah.
Not that quick.
You said that a little too fast. Are you sure?
I don't know why Simone trying to put my business out there. I was just in an area that, had a little heightened test. So I had to make sure.
Were you feeling weird?
Do I feel weird?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was talking to Jordan the other day, and I felt kind of lightheaded.
And let me tell you what I told her.
Okay.
I said, Elise, did you eat? You have to eat so you don't feel lightheaded. That's probably why. You probably don't need a test. And she was like, no, I think I'm going to get one at the end of the week. That was yesterday. So.
Yeah, sometimes lightheaded is just a symptom of food deprivation. Not
hunger, I don't know.
Coronavirus. But we're glad you went in there and got your membranes played around with a little bit with that stick. I hope they're still in place, and I hope you can move on from this. I really hope you're good. I hope you don't have anything. That's our number one goal. But yeah, on today's episode, we really want to talk about, being young and trying to weigh out your risk in terms of when it's time to have fun, and when it's time to stay your ass home, And so being that we're in a global pandemic right now, we really want to highlight something that specifically happened in our hometown of Atlanta, Georgia, this last weekend. A-Town down. You can find me in the A going, hey.
Okay.
No, they didn't ask for that.
But we just want to talk because we just had some questions. We had some concerns about some pictures and some video footage we saw. Okay. So Today we will be talking about compounding your risk. I don't know if y'all got that as a play on words there, but y'all can catch us next. So the pictures, y'all, what was going on at Compound this weekend?
They were splashing in that water.
It was so much going on. It was faces and booties. It was booties to booties.
Booties to booties.
Germs everywhere.
Thirsty people, okay? Just thirsty. People have been cooped up in their house. They haven't seen people. And they decided to act a fool.
See, but I don't think it's some people that was out there looking like that. I really feel like it was the people who didn't care in the first place.
That's probably fair.
I did see one girl online that was like, I'm going to Haywire, but I'm a quarantine after. I said, okay, well, at least she knows the pandemic. At least she's not just being completely dumb.
I followed someone who showed us a picture of him at Haywire with the mask on. Another guy said, to all y'all who wished everyone who went to Haywire got COVID and his test results were negative. And I just feel like that was...
Wait, the fourth was 5 days ago.
Literally. So, no one was wishing harm on these people, but it was just concerning. For one, we all know Haywire is really a Northeastern thing. So y'all got your happy behinds on a plane or drove down to Atlanta, Georgia to go sit on a yacht, a boat, Not it. I truly can't believe that was a yacht. It was a
I
boat.
don't think yachts
And
can be on Lanier. I think
yachts
Lanier's
don't
not
go on
deep
Lake Lanier.
enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yachts would not want to go on that devil infested water, because that's what it is. Okay, people come up missing all the time in that water. Just get snatched up. People go out there with their families and say, "My cousin got snatched in the water," and y'all are still going out to Lake Lanier
Literally.
to
So many different stories.
to go on a
Wait,
boat.
they were driving the boat on the boat. You get it?
Elise, we're just gonna move past that. Anyways.
And then after the yacht party, y'all decided it was a good idea to go blow up a pool and stick it inside a compound. You couldn't even filter the water. So y'all are in the water
I didn't think about that.
twerking and
And-
dancing in this nasty, discolored water. For what? What did you gain?
I saw a tweet and somebody was just like, just so y'all know, there was a lot of hand sanitizer around. Like, what is that going to do for
What
anybody
does
in that
it do?
situation?
There was no mask in sight. It was so bad that the city requested them to remove the video footage of the compound party. They had to take it off of Instagram. And this man said, the city making us take it down. So they posted it on another Instagram page.
Oh, Lord.
What is this ratchetry? What? When has it ever been this serious?
Never.
Well, I will say, if I, just had a couple shots in me, and, I didn't read New York Times every day, I would have been there in a Fashion Nova brand hazmat suit.
Disgusting.
I'm sure Fashion Nova sells scrubs. If y'all didn't know, y'all a nurse, they sell scrubs. I'm not a nurse, but they sell scrubs.
So why do you even know that?
Moving on, I think that if they had a nice fitted, glow in the dark
hazmat suit,
or clear to show my bikini,
what?
I would be up in there.
That is not cute. Only thing it would show is like the steam, like you
literally radiating from your body.
Literally disgusting. Like what?
I don't weigh that much. It would have been that much steam, but I mean, I would have made a little something shake real quick.
The two don't go. They don't
for
equate.
My fans.
That just confusion. Can't understand it.
You could have put that thing, like, how people like go hiking and they have that little like straw bag thing in their bags for like water.
No,
yeah.
I could just put my drink in there and come with it and be like sipping, doing a little 2-step to some Megan Savage.
Can you even hear through the hazmat?
See, you would look foolish because you would look like there was
this
picture recently on Twitter of this woman in a zip-up plastic suit on the plane with a mask on underneath it. That's what your ass would look like. Foolish.
But that looked kind of smart. I kind of wanted to.
But why do you need a mask on inside of the plastic? Won't you like suffocate?
Me and Jordan are scary, so I will be right there, my mask, blow up thing, all of that.
I wouldn't be there.
Would not be there. The whole thing. Literally, I saw that stuff being advertised for a month, and nothing in my being said you need to carry your behind down there.
But nothing. Elise, Decades is opening on Sunday.
Decades, I don't know if these people are on this call. Decades is only fun on Sundays for the day party. Any other time, don't be at Decades.
And that's why it's opening on Sunday.
If Park opens up, that's when we need to talk, though.
Talking about a socially distanced brunch. Who finna follow the rules?
First of all, Decades brunch isn't even good. I've never heard anyone say, I'm going to Decades for brunch.
Literally, never.
I don't hear nobody say they're going to Compound anymore. So why did that happen?
But I think it brings up a good question about Haywire, about like when it's time to be young and dumb because you're in your 20s, and what is just plain dumb.
For one, I think, could you die? And I'm not even trying to be like, extreme there.
But no, it's not extreme. That's the thing.
Like, could you die? Like, we have all been in some stuff, I'm sure. We've gone to college. We were on our own. Like, we did a lot of crap, right? But it's like, this is like so serious. And I know my friends are always yelling at me because I'm always like lighting them up in group messages and stuff for doing things. But it's like, why is it so serious that you you took this type of risk? Like, what would you have missed out on if you didn't go? And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you're not supposed to be at everything. That's just not how life works. And sometimes you don't go to things for a reason. And so even though there are some people who walked away without COVID, I'm sure there are a lot of people who were impacted by that, and either they were or they spread it to someone else. It's a little, it's a little selfish. Especially
Yeah.
going to a whole nother city to do this.
For me, it's just the lack of community. Like, just because you haven't gotten it yet, you think that it's okay to do all these super risky things and be around other people, like older people, your grandmother, somebody else's grandmother in the grocery store, people who are autoimmunocompromised. Like, it's not even me, myself, necessarily, because obviously the people there wanted to take that risk.
Right.
And that's on them.
Right.
But it's not just a you decision. It's a whole community decision if you leave the house.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess like what I'm trying to ask is, like, we do reckless stuff in our 20s just because you feel like, oh, I'm young, I might as well be reckless now. And as we're becoming adults, like, what are things that, that's fun and reckless because you can do in your 20s? And like, what stuff is like, like, maybe not. Like, I think for me, I've had moments where like I am a social being, so I like going out to clubs and bars in the city. And there have been like, my best stories have been the stories that like, probably looking back, weren't my best moments of like safety. Like, I'll never forget, like, we and my friend, like, these guys invited us to go like get Chinese in Chinatown. Chinatown in DC is a scam, so don't do that. At like 4 a.m., we didn't know these guys, and I remember I really wanted sesame chicken, and they were all paying in cash. It was real sketch, and they were like, we don't do individual orders. We order as a family. And I was like, I just want my sesame chicken. And I remember asking them what they did because they had wads of money, and they were like, we're nurses. And I was like, Elise, I was like, probably, why are you here? And I was like, oh yeah, it's free food. But I was like, this may not be my best safe moment. And I think like, while I was fine, it's a good story to tell. Like, I think some things you can kind of cut yourself slack for, because like, you are 20s, you can stay out late, do stuff, like go to parties late, hang out with random people who you just meet like while walking around, and some stuff that's just like completely reckless, like maybe going to a pool infested with a horrible disease. So like, what, like, I think for you guys, like, what are your stories about like doing your reckless stuff in your 20s that you're just kind of like, it's my 20s?
But for me, I think it's a difference, because with your story, you went out and did all this, but the people who were going to get in trouble is you.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
It's not like a community decision. I keep using that word because, yeah, but like, that's just on you. But because I definitely had some times, man, Halloween.
Well, let us know.
Okay, so I started off my night drinking champagne. We love the bubbly. And then I think I took a shot of like Douce, because we definitely drive a boat over here too.
Jordan,
And
you got
then
money. Okay, go on.
I got to the place, right? It's this penthouse on 14th Street in DC. So 14th Street already
Wait,
expensive.
I wasn't invited?
I didn't know the person who invited me.
I remember this. Yeah, you said you couldn't invite me because you didn't want me to show out. I understand.
Okay. But anyway, so we got there. They had a whole bartender, and they had like the like quart size of like Hennessy and all these different tequilas and vodka. So long story short, I had a very fun time. Met a little sugar daddy, right?
What?
Apparently, okay, I don't know. I think my mom is going to listen to this story. So let me just condense this down. Basically, he got an Uber for me and my friend to come home, right? And then we got like maybe 3 blocks away from my house, and I was ready to throw up. So I just opened up the door very calmly and rolled out the car to throw up on this side of the street. And okay, long story, but so this part of town where I live in right now, it's a little hood. It's a little hood.
Ooh, Jordan.
So I dropped my phone
being
there.
nice.
And so I thought the people who do crack would probably have picked it up by then. Because I woke up the next morning at 9 o'clock, very confused. My wig was off my head. Didn't know where my phone was. I was supposed to be at work. It was just a lot going on. So I definitely get the crazy DC nights or 20s nights and stuff. But if anybody were to get hurt in that situation, it was just gonna be me. Like,
I see.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing. Like, you really have to think of it that way. And if we're applying it to the current situation, it's like, I think we all, especially being 20 years old, like, we want to have fun. Like, I feel like a year of my 20s got taken away from me. So I'm definitely adding that on to the year before I get married.
I'm weak.
But it's like, you know, we all kind of have to become selfless in this, because it's like, you know, if you live alone, that's one thing. But a lot of people go back to see their family or, you know, live with another person. And it's very like inconsiderate and selfish to take the approach of, well, I'll be fine. It's just simply not about you anymore. And it's like, you know, other people are able to do it. I just can't quite understand why Americans cannot. Like, we suck. We really suck.
Yeah.
And this was just like prime example. So it's like, yeah, we can have fun. And you know, like I said, I think a lot of us just recognize that this year is just 1 year out of our 20s we just don't get back. And that sucks for real, because I had so many great plans. And you know, this stuff happened right before a major trip to Puerto Rico where we had just intent to do bad, you know, and like we didn't get to do anything. And it really was unfortunate. Like, but it's just a decision you just have to make, you know?
Yeah, Simone, when we open back up, I'm gonna have you on the streets, because you know I be in the streets. So
right, because I was really trying to think about a story, and the main story I could think of was like a year ago. So I guess I was technically out of college, but it was wild, y'all. Like, we were in Harlem and we walked up to a walk-up McDonald's. Like, what is a walk-up McDonald's? Have you ever seen that in your life? And so that should have first off already told us something. And before we even got to the kickback, it was seemed a little off. We go to this walk up and this man comes up talking about, where are you from? So, you know, we're being friendly. It's late. It's like 2:00 in the morning or something. I'm like, oh, I'm from Marietta, Georgia. And he's like,
shut up.
He's like, oh, you from Marietta? Oh, you from the suburbs or something. You don't know nothing about the Bluff. I said, well, I do know about the Bluff. I saw that movie that time. And he was like, oh, you saw the movie? Yeah, I'm from the Bluff. I did a lot of stuff in the Bluff. Blah, blah, blah. And then he goes on to say that he was coming to the McDonald's to shoot it up. We said, wait, you don't need to do that, sir. He said, no, I was coming by to shoot the McDonald's up. But then I just thought against it. We said, yeah, let's not do that. He then told me all these other things, child, about how that street had been gentrified. But he said it had been, what did he say? He said some weird word that just wasn't even gentrified. It was like, just something off. And we're like, do you mean gentrified? And, oh, maybe it was like he just said something. And we're like, so gentrified. He's like, we used to sell crack and all types of stuff on this street, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, okay, so gentrified. He's like, yeah, but okay, again, like, I really was going to shoot up this street. And we were just like, what in the heck is going on? And I think that was like our first night, like, really going out in New York. Anyway, it's just a really wild experience. But like, that's just a funny story I can tell that my friends and I experienced, but like, no one else is going to be impacted by that, you know? So like, that's just how we have to think about it.
Well, it seems like you stopped a mass shooting, so
yeah, no, we might have stopped a mass shooting. This man literally said he had plans to shoot that block up that night, and that could have been the end of me. So I'm happy I made it to be here today.
Yeah, I have a couple reckless moments in me still, but like, I'm not putting my whole life out there. But like, one that comes to mind was actually Jordan's birthday. Let me tell y'all, Jordan had us at this $88 brunch.
It was a great brunch, though. We had crab legs. All you can eat.
$88, right?
Tell the
So
full story now. Tell the full story.
I got my money. I got my money worth because I made sure that I was about to sit and eat and drink until I could no longer move. And after, because my phone is always dying, y'all, we went to park per usual. That's where I always be at. And we had like, I feel like Vanessa section or something. But I remember y'all were there. We were hanging out. My other friends came. And then my phone died. I couldn't find you guys. And I was like, well, I want to go home now. It's been a long day. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to walk to the metro. The phone is dead. Nothing. I couldn't contact anyone to let them know that I was leaving. I walked to the metro. It's like 8 o'clock. I remember it wasn't too late. And I walked to the metro like a block away, get on the metro, super tired though. And I fall asleep on the metro. And I woke up right before my stop, like from my house. And I felt so guilty. I was like, this is so bad. Like, even though it only been me that was affected, I just felt so bad that people were probably worried about me, that I should have had my phone on and been better about not falling asleep on the metro, even though I was okay.
Now, I think that's a relatable story. I think anyone who has lived in a major city and taken a train back at night, because them Ubers be taxing, we have all fallen asleep. And it's scary, but definitely. We do it. And somehow we wake up at our stop at the right moment. It's pretty wild, honestly.
It's your body. Your body feels it. Like, time to get up.
Literally. So that was great, guys. Thank you for sharing. I think we all have a little bit of a balance we have to have between being reckless and having fun. We are in our 20s, and of course we want it to be just worthwhile before we get tied down, and get married and have all those rugrats and stuff. But you just have to figure out when things are impacting you and when they could have a larger effect on others. So great discussion. Next, we are going to go into listener questions. So stay tuned. So with listener letters today, first I want to say, since this is the first episode, we are reaching out to our listeners. If you have a listener letter that you would like to be read on the show, please send it in to one of our social media, set at the end. But let's get started. So first, this letter is from Tina, and she says, "Dear Kinda Adulting, is it possible to lead on a friend? I've been staying at home since quarantine began, and as a result have spent a lot of time with a childhood friend of mine, social distance, of course, i.e. hiking, drinking in the park, etc. We were best friends when we were kids, but went to different high schools and colleges where we ran into pretty different crowds. She's made it quite clear that she wants to spend a lot more time together and get a lot closer, more time together and get a lot closer. Sorry, guys. And has been suggested that we move in together when quarantine is over. Unfortunately, I don't feel the same way. I care a lot about her, but I do not enjoy our time together as much as she does. I respect the history that we share as friends, but now that we're in our 20s, I feel like we've grown too far apart for us to be best friends again. I'm afraid that if she realizes, it will really hurt her feelings, but I'm not willing to be her roommate to keep it from her. Any advice?
I just want to say shout out to Tina because she knows what she wants and doesn't let other people sway her feelings. Because I know a lot of people were just like, well, she's a good person, and then do what they don't want to do just because they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. It don't even have to be hurting their feelings, but just not speaking up for themselves.
Yeah.
So shout out to you for trying to get advice to speak up for yourself.
I think that the easiest basic way is to just say that you don't want to live with her. And I feel like it's not a mean thing to say. Rent is a lot. Paying, the place that you live, you should feel peace with and peace with the people that live there. So I think that it's pretty easy to just say, I just don't feel comfortable living with you, or I'm just don't think that's a good idea. I want a good a scapegoat is saying, I just cherish our friendship so much. I don't want to mess up us being roommates. And I think in regards to the second part of the question about friends, like you don't feel the same way, you don't have to be mean and say, like, you know what, I don't want to be your friend anymore to that extent. But I think you shouldn't lead her on. You shouldn't be around her all the time. You should kind of make distance. And I think to a point where she is probably nagging, just say, hey, like, love you, but I think we're in different parts of our life. But I'm the brutally honest one of this group. So, like, I would say that type of stuff. But I wonder, like, Jordan, Simone, what would you guys do?
Well, if you're brutally honest, I don't know what I am, because y'all know I would straight up be like, I don't want to live with you. I told that to multiple people in my life already. And I think in general, like, you're not meant to live with everyone just because they're your friend. Like, that does not work. There's only been one friend I've ever had that I feel like we really worked and gelled well together as roommates. But, like, for example, Elise and I could not live together.
And Simone would go crazy.
And that's okay. Like, friends are not meant to be roommates all the time. So, like, that's first off. So I would straight up be like, no, I don't want to do that. But if you're trying to take, like, the more subtle approach, you can really just say, I just don't think that's, like, in the cards for me right now. I don't think that I necessarily want to move in with you. And I'm not very good at saying things that gently, but, something in those terms, I guess, would be the best option there.
But what about the second part of your question about the friend, like, leading her on?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily leading her on per se. Like, you guys are just strengthening your friendship again, and maybe, like, it was lacking in some parts before, but that doesn't necessarily imply, like, let's move in together,
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking that along the same things, because, like, honestly, you don't really owe her an explanation for why you don't. Like Elise said, like, you pay the bills, or your portion of the bills, so you need to make sure that it's the best for you. And you can just be like, I just don't think that situation would be the best for me, period. Like, not why, oh, da 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 da. Like, I mean, you don't really owe her that. I mean, because it's your friend, maybe you can just say, like, I just don't think that we're at that part of our friendship. And that may hurt her feelings a little bit, but I mean, your feelings are also valid. So it needs to be known too. But it's definitely a way to say that without being like, I don't want to live with you. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, without it being too, like, negative, or, because it sounds like you still like her as a friend. It's just not it for a roommate. And I completely understand that. The only time I've lived with friends is because, like, they're friends of a friend, or like somebody that I don't really talk to on an everyday basis, so I don't have to worry about them being in my room all the time, because that's just something.
And
you
don't want the pressure to have to come home from work and speak to them, like,
yeah, like, just let me go in my room,
literally,
be by myself.
That's very
but the also to the point of, like, leading her on, I don't know how you could really, like, lead on a friend. I mean, I guess lead on her on that situation of, like, being her roommate, but it kind of also sounds to me that maybe you don't necessarily want to even be that close of her friend anymore. Like, you say that you're always spending time together, but, like, do you want to do that? You have to really reconsider, like, what are your wants out of this relationship, and prioritize that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, Tina, we hope that was helpful. I wish you the best of luck, and it doesn't seem like you guys should live together, and rent is a big expense, so please don't settle on your place of living or your roommate.
You having peace in your house is so important. Oh my gosh. Like, my roommate and I really got along. Like, we were cool. We would hang out on the weekends and stuff, but we really got along, I think, because we gave each other space, and, like, we just could be at peace. Like, there was no pressure to come home and have super long conversations, but we could also have that if we wanted to. And, like, that was the best first year experience living in New York, I would say.
I did not have the same.
We'll have a roommate episode. We talk about how we found our roommate episode. We talk about how we found our roommates.
Maybe we
yeah,
should.
because I love my roommate and I met her on Facebook. Never met her before in my life. Jordan has some stories though, but that's for another episode.
Oh
Girl.
my gosh, she does. I remember. But yeah, so that was all for listener questions this week. Next week we'll try to have some more, and hopefully you guys submit some too. Lastly, does anyone have any sisterly advice or just general mishaps they want to share adulting this week?
Elise.
Where should I begin? So I recently lost my car keys. It made me very upset. It sounds really small, but like it was really personal, and like TBH, I kind of cried about it because it's just a big expense to get those couple $100 to like replace them, and that's just money that I didn't have budgeted for the month. And I think when like small things happen and you're like crap, and you have like these bills to pay, and it was first of the month, rent, bills. I was really mad at myself about it. But like on the funny side, it was that I had to get my car, like I had to get new car keys, so I had to drop my car off at the dealership. And I decided, because I'm always trying to be a independent Black woman, that I was not gonna call anyone to give me a ride home. So I was gonna walk 5 miles from the car dealership back to my apartment. I got about 2.5 miles in until I realized it was a bad idea. I had been walking for an hour and I was wearing Zara flip-flops. And I was
Girl.
I realized that I need to stop being an independent Black woman and call my roommate to come drive 8 minutes to come pick me up.
You sound like a struggling Black woman.
I just yeah. So like my adulting mishap is like unexpected small expenses can really just set you off track and make you feel just annoyed because like I don't have the money to kind of just make it work somehow to keep it moving.
Yeah. I don't have a mishap this week, but I do think my advice would just be to do it. And not because of Chloe and Halle and that song being stuck in my head, which it definitely is, but really just because we had, like, Elise and I had been talking about this podcast for a while, and like maybe I made more pressure to say like let's do it now, like let's do it, we're in COVID, whatever, like we have free time. But I don't think this is something we would have really done if we were not in quarantine. But I say that to say, like, it's first of all never too late, but also just do it. Like there's really nothing that's stopping you from doing whatever that passion project is, or app you want to start, whatever it is. Like put your time into it, because someone else is going to do it and then you're going to be upset that you weren't able to fulfill that idea the way you wanted to. So this is evident, and yeah, we are very proud of it. So I hope everyone enjoys.
And to your point, really quickly, I saw this tweet and it was just like, stop adding wants to be in your vocabulary and just become that person that you want to be. And that really helped me, because I was like, I want to be a yoga person who wakes up and do yoga and all the time. And you know what? I got my Black ass up and I did some yoga that day, and I felt very good about myself. And now I'm a whole yogi. But anyways, my sisterly advice,
yeah,
I didn't really have a mishap. A whole yogi. Well, maybe like half
about 25%.
But yeah. Okay. Anyways, but my sisterly advice is health is wealth. I went to Glut. It's this like health food store, Black owned in DC, or I think it's Maryland. I don't know. But I got some sea moss gel and I got some liquid chlorophyll. I'm about to be
this
so
sounds like
healthy.
Cleaning products. You're
Corona
digesting these?
Corona hoop. Sea moss gel. You haven't heard?
Yes, definitely. Because don't you have to like prepare it a certain way or something?
Gel. But I got it already prepared.
This sounds disgusting.
So my smoothies are about to be super healthy.
Those vegan people. Okay.
Do.
Remember, you're from the South.
Vegan food kind of
your origin.
Oh, and Sweet and Natural right next to it, Black owned. I think vegan place. You should go check those places out if you live in DC. But yes, those are mine. Health is wealth. Okay.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We had a great time, and we hope everyone enjoys.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on our first episode of Kinda Adulting. We had a great time discussing being young and maybe a little too reckless, and while also giving advice to a listener who's trying to advocate for herself in a friendship. For more Kinda Adulting content and to submit your own letter for advice, follow us on our socials. Our Instagram handle is Kinda Adulting Pod, and our Twitter name, just blame the character limits. It's the same, but it's sharing an A. So to make sure that everybody follows the right thing, I'm going to spell it out. Our Twitter name is KINDADULTINGPOD. Catch you next week. Have fun.